Yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, canvas open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never this way. We indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
Yeah. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Lion Villain Report, and it is October the 2nd right here, and I am your host. It's your boy Russell Wayne in the house, and we are broadcasting live right now into the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page right there. You can go and follow. We appreciate anyone that likes, shares, comments on any of this stuff right there. The Lions Villain Squad Facebook page, the Lions Villain Squad YouTube page as well. Hit that like button on whatever platform you're watching on right now, and that way you can say, hey, I took care of that thing for you, just like Pete the Unaliver right there. We are also broadcasting live. I'm glad to see Joe Chapp and the boys over there at Detroit Lions News Podcast back in action. Apparently, he's performing too well, so Facebook decided to try to slow him down a little bit and put him out of action for like 24 hours. So, Joe, nice to see that you're back on and you're back live, and we are live in the Detroit Lions News Podcast and JC Sports Network on YouTube. And as always, our show is brought to you by NFL Shop, affiliate marketing partners. right here. And we have, let me get this link in there for you. So you can get one of them slick hats right there. You can even get one of them cool looking black jerseys that you saw on Monday night with that great win on Monday night. So they are our affiliate marketing partners right there. And our STARS program. My wife is an advocate for autism awareness. So all of the stars, if you comment using stars, then all of that is going to go to support her page where she is sharing resources for parents that have kids with special needs. So like my son with special needs, look at him right there. That's little Riker right there. That's right. Autism awareness. So you want to support that? You can use the STARS program to do that. Well, welcome all to the program. And we usually do PFF on Tuesdays, but in this special occasion, the PFF scores weren't available yesterday morning because the game was on Monday night. So we're moving the PFF to today. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We want to break down this Lions victory. And we want to talk a little bit about the PFF scores right here. So I want to get myself in a position here where I can share this with you. So give me 1 second and I'm going to get this done and move this big bad boy out of the way. And there we go. I want to get in here and look at some of these PFF scores right here. Now, this is on the side of Seattle. Kenneth, I mean, he had a pretty good game in the second half when they were trying to come back. I think that they fooled the Lions a little bit schematically. And man, I didn't even say hello to everybody. Man, I am an awful host. Hold on a second before I even get in there, man. I want to say hello to everybody. Good morning to you, Henry Gray, Lions, family, and villains, faith, family, and football in that order right here. Fred Peterson, good morning. It's a great day to be a Lion. Good morning, Dwayne. Good morning to you, Davey. Good morning to Mark. And you guys were all here before the Lions YouTube page even got promoted with the automatic promo. Look at that. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel just by going over to YouTube at Lions Villain Squad. And yes, we are trying to build that up too. Detroit fan man in the house. Good morning, Fred Peterson. Oh, man. Absolutely. The Detroit Tigers. That's what you guys are talking about right there. I know this is a Lions show, but the Lions are on a bye. The Lions, I mean, we are going to talk a little bit about that game because, I mean, what a great game that was on Monday night. But the Tigers, they also pick up a victory in the playoffs. Yeah, love it. I love it. Go Lions, says Maurice. Fred Peterson, it was intense. Yeah, that was an intense ninth inning. But here, that's the type of baseball. They built a baseball team a lot like this football team. You know, they built it through building through the draft and building through the minor leagues, having a bunch of young players that they were developing, and got a good manager and AJ Hinge come in and starts putting them together. Now some of these younger players are starting to bud a little bit right before our very eyes, a lot like our Detroit Lions. When you look at some of these players. Good morning to Mark. Good morning, Mike. We run shit around here. That's what he says. All right, PFF, good morning with everybody. I just wanted to make sure I said good morning to everybody. What's good morning to you, Matthew? Good morning, Brent. Oh, man. Yeah, and Scooble was lights out yesterday. For sure. Now I feel a little bit better getting into the PFF right here. I wanted to do the grades for them first because I think that there's this illusion out there like they just killed us on offense because we gave up 20 29 points. And I don't know, that's kind of a little bit of an illusion to me. You're looking through here, their best offensive players, they got great running back play because our defensive line was dominating the game up front and they weren't getting much done. And those running backs were making some stuff happen, as you'll probably see in the reflection of the tackling grades for the Lions. But DK Metcalf had a decent game. I mean, really, they threw the ball over 50 times, and we were just talking about that from 2 weeks ago when they were in that the game with Tampa Bay that they lost. Oh, you can't win by throwing the ball 50 times. Well, that was on display here, but it was the Seattle Seahawks that threw the ball more than 50 times this time. So, looking through there, Lake and Tomlinson, that they had, they just did not have a great game, offensively, but that's all right. That's all right. Let's move it over to the. And we'll might as well look at the Lions offense right there. Sam Laporta, even though he doesn't catch as many passes, he was a factor in this game in more ways than one. Jared Goff, I mean, a perfect game. A perfect game. We really need to put that into perspective right there. A perfect game Jared Goff had. And PFF grades him at 80.9, whatever. I mean, I can't believe that's not in the 90s. That's 18 for 18. It was probably based off of the safety. If I had to make a guess, that's why the PFF score went down for him. But Goff was amazing. I mean, I think there's a lot of the fan base that really needed to see a performance like that out of Goff. But look at that name right underneath Goff's name. Tim Patrick. Now, we were on this show earlier, and I know that certain Bear fan likes to come in here and run his mouth and talk about how all of these things aren't going to work out. You don't have another X receiver that's out there. And what did I tell you? You got a great practice squad. You got Allen Robinson on the practice squad. Tim Patrick was on the practice squad. And here we are, week 4, and there's Tim Patrick. 21 snaps. He caught some passes. He was a willing and able run blocker. I mean, look at that. An 84.6 run blocking grade. So I think that the Lions have found themselves an X receiver. And here's the thing is like, what do we want out of an X receiver? I mean, a lot of X receivers are the number one receivers on the team. And in this case, that's not what it is. Tim Patrick is a 6'4" beast of a man. And that's what the Lions really needed. They needed a big offensive weapon that they could have out there to put into that Josh Reynolds role. And I think that they found a guy in Tim Patrick. It's another one of these injured guys that came off of an injury. I mean, they gave this guy a bag in Denver, and then he got injured. And then the Lions were able to pick him up and put him on the practice squad. Now, I don't think that you get a guy like Tim Patrick on your practice squad unless you're a contender. Because Tim Patrick is a good enough wide receiver and he's got enough rapport with the league that he would have been able to go get a job as a starting wide receiver on some other team. I'm sure of it. And I know that this kind of just moved into a Tim Patrick conversation, but that's okay. Why not? Why not talk about Tim Patrick? This is we're here exploring in PFF right here, and he was the third highest graded player on the offense. Now, there's some other things that like kind of stood out for me too. Is like when I break this, so you got offense here, the pass, your pass blocking, run blocking right here. Let's look at the pass blocking right here. Look at that. You got 3 really nice games in keeping Goff clean. But look at that third name on there, Coyote. Now, when we talk about depth, and why can Tim Patrick get open? It's because this is a complete team. The Detroit Lions are a complete team. You needed guys to come in and do roles here. But look at that. You're getting good pass protection. You're getting good pass protection out of your tight ends. They were keeping Goff clean for the most part, but there were a couple hiccups right there. If you see down there at the bottom, you got Kevin Zeitler did not have a good game pass blocking. But when you don't have good games, the other guys pick you up, right? And here's the run blocking here. And Zeitler was definitely a better run blocker, but look at that run blocking. Tim Patrick, Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, Zeitler. I mean, but you did have some not so good run blocking down here at the bottom. Jamison Williams did not have a good game run blocking. He whiffed on a couple blocks. Graham Glasgow is, he's playing center. I don't know how hard of a transition that is, but that might affect your run blocking, having to snap the ball and having to push forward. Coyote wasn't a very good run blocker. So when you look at that, when you're looking at the whole offense, then you can really appreciate the performance of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, because they were making things happen that weren't necessarily blocked right. God, that run by David Montgomery, are you kidding me right now? That run where he plowed over Devin Witherspoon, broke 2 more tackles, and then got to the outside. I mean, David Montgomery is playing football on a different level right now. In the pass game, he does pass block well. I mean, I know that the reflection, the end all be all is not PFF right here. But in the pass game, he had a strong game. On 21 total snaps, he impacted the game. And then Jahmyr Gibbs had a good game. So that's awesome. I love looking at the score, and it kind of reflects the game when you think about it. But I love looking at the scores of the offensive linemen, because then you can really see right there, because those are good run blocking, but you want your best run blockers to be your offensive linemen. And Taylor Decker with an 80.7, that's good, right? But I mean, Penei Sewell, 70.9. He's usually in the 90s. That's an off game for him. Zeitler. Your offensive lineman did not have a great run blocking game. But your talent on running the ball is second to none. So you're getting production out of your running game, even when your offensive linemen aren't playing their best games. So I love it. I love it. The big boys up front, they are going to have their best game this year sometime. They haven't put it all together yet. I mean, got a 3-1 Lions team that hasn't put together its best game yet. And that's awesome. That's awesome because you don't want to be peaking week 4 anyway. You want to be peaking week 16. Playing your best football right there, going right into the playoffs. What's up, Chad? You still out there in Arkansas? Hunting for Bigfoot? Dwayne Keene in the house. Jared Goff. Jared Goff. Jared Goff. Right there. Tim Patrick for Josh Reynolds trade is looking like an early win, and if we're being honest. And that's, you know what? I don't want to say too much negative about. I missed some comments here. Let me go back here a little bit. Elise Memes in the house saying, good morning, friends. Yes, how about them Tigers? Go Detroit. Good morning, villains, from John. Good morning from Larry. What's up, Shelly? How about that St. Brown to Goff touchdown? That was something else, wasn't it? That was something else. The most passes thrown without an incompletion. Jared Goff. Jared Goff. That's what perfection looks like. And the minimizers are still going to be out there minimizing. That's what they do. Let's minimize it. Oh, but Jared Goff, what's he going to do without his other players? It's like, what? That's such a weak argument. It's like, it takes 11 men. Yeah. I mean, anyway, the guy has to be there to catch the ball. The ball's got to be thrown there. You know, we have playmakers. Goff's job is to get it into the hands of the playmakers. And that's what he does. 18 for 18. We love Goff. We don't care what the media says. Goff broke an NFL record. Yes, he's one of one. To all of you beautiful people, Chad says, good morning. And Mark saying that he knew Patrick would be a great addition to the team. Can't wait till Robertson gets comfortable with our offense, see what he can bring to the table too. And I love it. The Tim Patrick, Josh Reynolds. The thing is like with our X receiver, it's a skill set, right? You know, I don't think that it's not that Tim Patrick's a better wide receiver than Josh Reynolds. It's Tim Patrick fits what we need, you know, in a body type. You know, he is a physical receiver. He goes out there and he blocks. You know, he's a big body target, red zone. He goes up and gets it. You know, Josh Reynolds, I mean, he was fine, but in that same role, what Tim Patrick has with that size, I mean, you can't teach that. He has something that Josh Reynolds doesn't have. And you can't teach somebody how to be taller. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who was good and I would call. I do. I have a great girl. I have a great wife. And if you give a stars comment, you can help her out on her page. She's an advocate for autism awareness. See, look at that. Nice seamless transition into the plug right there. I wish I had a girl who was good and I would call her. And there she is. That's who I call because I have a girl that's good. Back to the show. Sam Laporta. Nice to see you on this list. right here. Let's get into some of the defense, though. That's what everybody wants to see, right? How about that defense? How about that defense, Aiden? Aiden Hutchinson shows up at the top again. It's like, how do you get a 91 total defensive grade and a 24 tackling grade? Sometimes PFF is goofy, and I try to figure that one out. That's a weird one. He must have missed maybe he was right in the position to make that play on Kenneth Walker when he scored a touchdown or something for it to be skewed like that. But look at that. Trevor Nowaski. He was a waiver wire pickup that played with us last year and got claimed. And this year, we were able to get him. And he had a great grade, but he did only play 8 snaps. But what I love about the defense is it wasn't all Aiden Hutchinson, okay? You move these stats over here a little bit, but look at this. Going by sacks, you had Aleem McNeil, Malcolm Rodriguez, Levi Onwuzurike, and DJ Reader all getting sacks. Guys not named Aiden Hutchinson are getting pressure on the quarterback. QB hits. Aiden Hutchinson had 1. Pascal had 1. Alex Anzalone had 1. Hurries. Look at that. Aiden Hutchinson with 14 hurries. Aleem McNeil with 5 hurries. Trevor Nowaski was only out there for 8 plays, and he had 3 hurries. Josh Pascal had 2 hurries. James Houston had a hurry. DJ Reader had a hurry and a sack. Gotta like that. You gotta like that. This isn't just a one-trick team here. It isn't just Aiden Hutchinson and a bunch of dudes. You got a healthy Aleem McNeil. I mean, you're really looking at that. The run defense. Not going to be very good on the run defense probably because of the end of the game. But they were decent against the run when they needed to be. In the first half when you're getting the lead and you're pushing it out there, the Lions were great against the run. In the second half, it almost seemed like they were using the run because we were set up to stop the pass. And they played it well in the second half, but we never let them get close. They were only in a 1-possession game. I mean, there wasn't any real pressure on the defense at the end of the game. They were able to move the ball, but we got to change our game plan to more of a prevent style. Still trying to be aggressive. The criticism where you're looking at some of these probably comes from the penalties. You got to have penalties. But when you break this down in coverage, there you go. Remember Jack Campbell? This is the best coverage grade that he's had. And that's what you need. That big, long, athletic linebacker, Jack Campbell. You got him because of his versatility. And he needs to be good in coverage in order for him to be, he has to be a sideline to sideline linebacker. And that's what he looks like that he is. I mean, Alex Anzalone didn't have a very good game, but Jack Campbell did. Look at that. Love it. I love it. Kirby Joseph. Another good game for him. He gets a sack, or not a sack, but an interception. Closing the door. But you could tell at the end, too. I mean, even when they were able to drive someone down the field, he was throwing and taking chances. And it was only a matter of time before he was going to throw a pick. There was a couple of times where the game could have got ended. And they were able to close that game out. And that's what you want to see. I want to see them close these games out. So if you have any questions on there, I mean, if you want me to look anything up specifically on there, I mean, that's what I usually do is I itemize those things and what I saw. I mean, sometimes I don't really understand the scores. They don't make a lot of sense. But to get an idea of offensive linemen and stuff, I like looking at the score and lining the scores that they have on here up against what their actual stats were. But let's see. Jordan says it seems like some of those PIs were iffy. Not all, but some. And I agree with that. I think that they were calling the game real rigid for how physical the game needed to be. And Carlton Davis addressed that at where he's asking the referees to do. It's not like all of those calls were good calls, by the letter of the law. But a lot of times you got to let these players play. DK Metcalf is a 6'4", 250-pound monster. And he plays physical. He loves to get physical. And Carlton Davis was getting physical back with him. They were playing a physical game. And when he went over to the ref and he was complaining to the ref, he was pleading to him saying, let us play the game. And it did seem like that. I hate it when it's like that. It's like, let the players play. If it's a scrappy physical game, then you can't call every one of those little tick-tacky calls. So I agree with that. Aiden said, that's your boy right there. Aiden, I think that Jack Campbell had his best game as a pro. He impacted the game. I mean, defensively, he saved the game. What was the corners and coverage? Let's take a look at that. In coverage, the top, Amik had the best. Kirby was good. Kendall Vildor, okay, and then you're getting into the lower grades. But Carlton Davis, a 60.7, that's not awful. He did get, you're going up against maybe the best trio of wide receivers in the NFL. When you're looking at Ennis Rakestraw, had a couple plays. You can't really, he had one play that got graded a 60. Okay, there you go. But yeah, the coverage grades, pass interferences don't help your coverage grades. So there they are all in itemized in in coverage grade right there, in that order. And you had said something. Okay, there you go. There was the other comment that you had that I liked. You could tell they were missing Branch. Yeah, anytime that you're missing your best cornerback, I mean, you're going to notice it. You're going to notice it. But here's the thing is the defense that you're playing when you're up by 2 scores is going to be a lot different than the defense that you're playing to go take the lead. I'm not making excuses for them. They gave up 27 points. You know, you want to see them be better. You want to see them just shut them out and you know, be able to kick their ass the whole time. And that's something that they can work on, you know, through that. But it's also something that's going to help when Brian Branch, your best defensive back, is on the field. You're better with him on the field than off the field. So, but here's the thing, it's next man up. You know, when it goes to that, Jordan, it's like you got to find a way to win games without your best players, Frank Ragnow. I mean, when you really put that into perspective, it's actually kind of amazing when you're looking at some of the storylines for this game. You were without 2. I mean, you could argue the best player. That's the jersey that I have. I want that. That's the first jersey that I got from this regime. I had Frank. I love Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank is one of the best centers in the league. And there we are, playing without him, able to put up 42 points. And the other part, you know, about the cornerbacks and, you know, them giving up points, I'm not worried about that at all. You play the game that's in front of you. And you are going to play differently against a team when you're up by 2 scores the entire game. Once they got up by 2 scores, they never let them get into that space. They kept it at 2 scores. I mean, I think it was down to 1 score for a brief minute, and then the defense bucks up. The defense that you're playing, because I don't think that they were in a prevent defense, but they weren't taking the chances. And, you know, those are 3 tough. That's a tough offense, guys. I mean, for one thing, when you're looking at Geno Smith, this dude gets rid of the ball fast. So that does nullify some of that pass rush. It seemed like anytime that he tried to drop back, they got him. And then he tried to stay back there, they got him. But most of the stuff out of his hands quickly. That's how Geno plays. Geno deserves some flowers too. I mean, come on, man. I think the Lions are going to be a tough team all year long like that. That's going to be hard. I mean, Jameson Williams really unlocking the offense when you think about it. I mean, the more times he scores 70-yard touchdowns, the more they're not going to be able to sneak that safety up, stop the run. You're going to get David Montgomery getting to run against softer boxes because of Jameson Williams. You have to account for Jameson Williams every time that he's out on the field. You need to know where he is at. Chance says, hard for anyone to beat us when we play like we did on Monday. We'll get better, have less penalties soon. We'll be unstoppable dynasty that we always wish that we were. You know, that was the part about the penalties that I hated. You know, they were calling these holding penalties, and some of them were good, but some of them weren't. you're extending drives with penalties when you got to do that, 5-6 times. It's like, quit committing to penalties, obviously, get better with your techniques and all that stuff. But I don't think every refereeing, they're not, none of them are created the same. So when you have one official team out there, they might not be as hard on the PIs. They may let them play more. And when we find officiating crews that are like that, obviously it's going to be better. It's going to be better. They get handsy, they get physical in there. I want to see less penalties. That's the only thing. I wish that the Lions put Jack in the Hall of Fame. Come on, Aiden. I mean, give him some love. You got to give him some love. He had a good game, but he's not Hall of Fame yet. You got to do it for a little bit longer. But Mark says that Glenn's defensive scheme still leaving the middle of the field open for opposing quarterbacks to attack. It's been part of every team's game plan for us. This year. Sure. I have no issues with that. I mean, you're missing your best player on defense, but they gave up 20 points, and 13 points. I mean, they're going to get better, but they're 3-1 right now. And I don't think that it's his defensive scheme either. I mean, I think part of it is the fact that you went up against some pretty damn good wide receivers. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua for at least half of that game. And then Mike Williams. And then who's the other guy that they had there? The guy that they got two really good wide receivers in Tampa Bay. And then Marvin Harrison Jr., that kid's going to be a star. In week 3, they really shut down the wide receivers really in week 3. And then in this last game, I mean, that may be the best trio of wide receivers the Lions are going to see this year. Right there. I mean, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith-Njigba. I mean, can you name me a better trio? Godwin. Thank you, Mark. Godwin. Chris Godwin. Some good wide receivers. It's not an excuse. You got to be able to stop the good wide receivers, but you won 3 of those games. That's the thing that we forget. I mean, I don't mind, talking about the weaknesses. I don't want to come off like somebody that's just going to gloss over all of what we're not good at. But the thing is can you win in the league with what you have and without glossing over and, getting better week to week? I mean, there's a couple teams that are peaking right now that are really, really good. Like Minnesota. Do you think Minnesota is going to keep up this type of play? I mean, you do this, right? And Minnesota's been like this. Somebody's going to stop Minnesota. They'll lose a game. They'll put some tape out there because every team goes through it. That's why you don't see undefeated teams, because all the teams are so good in the NFL that even the smallest weaknesses they can attack. So the Lions are 3-1 and they haven't really played their best football yet. And that's good. That's awesome. I mean, I was just going through right there and you just saw that on offense when I was looking at that. When you look at that offensively, I mean, there's a lot of room for improvement, even though they scored 42 points. There's a lot of good things on here. I love seeing Tim Patrick, 21 snaps. He had an 80 grade. He had the 3rd best grade on the team. That's a great success story right there. I think. I mean, I like to focus on those good things. The cornerback room's got to get better. I'm not going to disagree with you there, Mark. But the cornerback room is better. Because when you look at the 2 losses that the Lions had against the Seattle Seahawks, they gave up, what, 48 points in one of the losses, 38 points in the other loss. This time they gave up 29. To me, it looks like the secondary is getting better. You held on to 29 and you didn't even have your best cornerback. You didn't even have Brian Branch on it. You didn't have Ifeatu Melifonwu, but he hasn't been there the whole year. But, I mean, that's a good quality player. He was a top 10 safety in the league last year, Ifeatu Melifonwu. So you got two of your best cornerbacks out, and you still put up a good performance. Terrion Arnold's got to work on his hands. You can't keep tackling people, keep holding people. I mean, I'm not going to blame that all on the referees. I think some of the calls were ticky-tacky, but that's all right. He's got to get better at that. But I love that the coaching staff, Aaron Glenn, Dan Campbell, says they don't want them to stop playing like that. I'm telling you, they would have blown up. If they were less aggressive on the holding calls and the PI calls in that game, they would have blown them out. They extended a couple of drives with those penalties. I thought that the cornerbacks were playing well. It was the second chances because of the penalties is how they were able to get points. I don't think that Seattle even had a clean drive. That was just straight down the field. They beat us on the plays. I think every drive that they had was helped with a penalty. And that's important to me. You know, how many clean drives did you get? I mean, did your offensive line move people out of the way? Were you able to run the football? You know, Lions had quite a few clean drives. What are you going to do about Jameson Williams? You know, like that's a clean drive. Just every time that they tried to come back, our offense just threw another touchdown pass. You know, it just seemed like it was easy for Ben at the end. They probably could have scored 50 if they wanted to. Brian says Davante Adams might be a good ad. I don't want Davante Adams here. I got to talk about this, and this is like has nothing to do with his talent. And I don't know, maybe I'm just a Brad Holmes guy, but I have to address this every time I see it because it's like I don't mind the opinion. If you want Davante Adams, let's play around with this for a little bit. Davante Adams, we get that done, right? That's going to cost us, you know, future 1 and 2, maybe even multiple to get him here. And then you're going to pay this guy top wide receiver money along with another top wide receiver money. And okay. But then, okay, you make it work. You get him here. And I at that point, you have the best wide receiver trio in the league, and you know, go on with your bad self. That's awesome. But he's never had any experience in this offense. And that's the reason why Brad Holmes won't do it. Tim Patrick is a reason why Brad Holmes wouldn't do that. And I'm not saying Tim Patrick is better than Davante Adams. But I'm saying our offense and the way that it's built with the skill positions that we have, we don't need him. There's no reason to add Davante Adams. And I don't think that they would. Right now, they got, You know, Allen Robinson sitting behind. You got Khalif. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson. Laporta's a pass catcher. Even Brock Wright was catching passes. We got plenty of playmakers. He has a hard enough time trying to figure out how to distribute this ball. He's got mouths to feed, Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's got mouths to feed. And that would be a big mouth to feed. He wouldn't even be the player from that team that I would want. If you're going to make a trade, you're going to spend future capital, why don't you go ahead and bring in Max Crosby? If you're going to spend a first and a second round pick, I mean, if I'm playing the fantasy, let's get let me know what your fantasy. My fantasy is to have Max Crosby on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. Then I would think that defense would be a championship defense. Instantly. So if I'm going to make a trade for a player and I'm going to use future capital and I'm going to be like, oh, F them picks, right? All of a sudden we're F them picks. It's Max Crosby. Go get Max Crosby. If you're going to do any wacky trades, Brad Holmes, go get that stud on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson. But I don't know if they want to do that either. Why would they want to do that? The guys that you have are working. You're developing these guys. Now, if you go out and get Max Crosby, F them picks. F them picks. You go out and get Max Crosby, you ain't keeping Aleem McNeil. You go out and get Devontae Adams, you ain't keeping Derek Barnes or Ifeatu Melifonwu. You can't keep all of these players. Now, I love these. I mean, the big name. God, get Devontae Adams here. Yes, everybody would be happy. And it'll be, yay, we got a name here. But to me, that would be disrespectful to the guys that are working on the team right now. We're working to get playing time. And then you're going to just bring in somebody from the outside who hasn't been grinding with you for 3 years. And then you're going to pay him the money? I mean, think about that. I mean, I love the idea, and I don't want Devontae. No, thank you. No, thank you. But maybe Crosby. I don't want any of them. I think Brad Holmes built the team. I trust Brad Holmes. I trust Dan Campbell. They've had a vision since day one. They've been criticized for almost every move that they've made until the last year where they started getting some flowers. But, you know, oh, you can't draft the running back that early. Oh, you can't draft the linebacker that early. They had a vision. Oh, Levi Onwuzurike is a bust because he's injured. Well, he worked back. Those are the type of players that we want to extend, that we want to spend the money on. You got this money on over the cap? We got some money on over the cap. I don't want to spend that money. I want to pay our own guys. I got a feeling that they won't do any of that stuff. And with the $28 million that we got, we pay our own guys. If you think that we should just pay our own guys, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. If you think, give me Give me the N for no if you think we should trade for one of these guys. I mean, do you think that's the move that we would need? We just need to go like Chad. Chad says yes. Keep the guys that we have. Keep the guys that you've been developing and let them move up the pipeline. I mean, you're looking at this thing. Josh Pascal had his best game as a pro. Had the most snaps. When you look at week 1, 22 snaps, 13 snaps, 18 snaps. And then Davenport gets injured, and then he's got to come in for 53 snaps. And he's getting better. There's something about Brad Holmes guys in their third year. Yes, yes. Now, if you go get a stud, if you go get Max Crosby, then I don't think that, Pascal's going to get upset. I want to pay our guys. Because the thing is like, if you go get Max Crosby, you can't pay our guys. Why wouldn't you want Max Crosby on a team? If that's it, if that's all we want to do is we want to win this year, F those picks, let's go. Roy says Max doesn't seem sustainable with the salary cap. It's not. That's what I'm saying. When you go get a guy like Max Crosby, and they have the money to do it here, they can do it, to do it for right here, right now. Now, is it sustainable? No, it isn't. You're also giving future draft picks away. If you want Max Crosby, it's going to cost you maybe multiple ones. You might have to give 2 first-round picks to get Max Crosby. I'm okay with it. Like if we go all in, it has to be a guy like Max Crosby. Don't do it for Davante Adams. You already got a max contract on there, and you got players you believe in on the wide receiver. Davante Adams is not a good move. Davante Adams is crying his way out of another situation. Trade me. You got to trade me. I'm going somewhere else. I'm not happy. I mean, he wasn't happy in Green Bay. Now he's not happy at the Raiders. I don't want a guy like that. Mark says Lions' new motto, disrespect equals respect. Chip on the shoulder mentality. Right there. Fred Peterson says, I don't want either one of them unless we got Crosby for a bag of chips. I don't want Adams. If they paid us, he's a crybaby. Issues in the locker room. No F them picks. As much as I want a Super Bowl in Detroit, I don't want to chase one. I want to chase Super Bowl and be contenders for the next 10 years. And that's what they've built here. I'm not trying to say that they won't. I'm not trying to say that they wouldn't. I wouldn't want this, right? It's just not what they're going to do. Jeremy says, sorry, I'm late. Anybody want wanting a bag that's on a trade block? It will cost the future and any re-signings. And that's why I don't want, like, if you're trying to win a Super Bowl and do it just this year, then, and they do it, I would be behind have Max Crosby on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson for this year. Just think about it. Total destruction with DJ Reader. I mean, that's a dangerous front. But I want to see the secondary get better first. That's a move that you make when you know that your secondary is locked into place. And I'm sure that would help the secondary a little bit, but no. I just showed that right here. This is Josh Pascal having his best game when they gave him the most snaps. They drafted Josh Pascal in the second round to be what he played 56 snaps as, or 53 snaps. And I know, this isn't like right home and, oh my God, it's the emergence of Josh Pascal. It's not the emergence of Josh Pascal. It was just his best game as a pro was Sunday. So here's a guy that, to me, Josh Pascal, if the Lions don't go out and get anybody here in the next 2 weeks, I think Josh Pascal is a guy that's going to get better with more snaps. I've been out on that train this year. I've been out in the front of this one. I've been on the Josh Pascal fan club. I'll eat crow on this. I'm prepared to eat crow, but general manager Brad Holmes drafted Josh Pascal in the second round, and I think that he is going to remain where he is for the rest of the season, and he is going to be a productive player as a starter. Because you look at you look at that. In this last game, 3 tackles, a quarterback hit, 2 hurries. That's what you want. That's what you want. The best thing that I saw right here on the PFF when I'm looking at the score. Hold on a second here. How do I get back in there? What I saw on defense, let me move this over here to the side, was where did the sacks come from? And I know that you can appreciate this, Jeremy B. You can appreciate this, but the sacks came from players not named Aiden Hutchinson. The thing is like if Aiden Hutchinson's going to go out and he's going to have 14 hurries, then the other guys got to show up and get their sacks. Aleem McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike, DJ Reader, the interior of that defensive line is getting pressure on the quarterback. And that is a great sign going forward because that's only going to get better with Reader. Reader is making this team better. Remember, this is Pascal's 3rd season, not his 4th. Let's see what he can do. And I'm 100% on it. But when I say there's something about these 3rd-year players, Jeremy, you know that it's true. Something about these 3rd-year players. This is also Aiden Hutchinson's 3rd year. A lot of people thought that his breakout year was last year. No. The Lions players in this defense, they break out in the 3rd year. It's the 3rd-year players, Aleem McNeil, with his breakout season last year. It's the 3rd-year players, Derek Barnes. who was a cast-off left for dead. Nobody thought that he might not even have made the team in 2022, was the talk. Ifeatu Melifonwu, third-year player. That's a player that Jeremy and I discussed as being a cap casualty. Not cap casualty, but a camp cut last year. You know, being one of the final one off the roster. We talked about Iffy not making the team. And then these third-year players, there's something about the third-year players. And that's why I'm feeling really good about Josh Paschal sliding into that role. That was left vacant with Davenport. And Davenport was playing decent. But it wasn't like right home and tell mama about how great Davenport was, but he was playing, he was a plus player. We'll say that. But Josh Paschal can be that plus player. He's a little bit different than Davenport, but he offers versatility because he could play the end, he can play the big end in the middle, or he can play the outside end in a 4-3. He can do either. And honestly, when he's doing the 3-4 type of thing where they have extra linebackers or DBs, I think that he's a better pass rusher from the interior than he is from on the outside. Now, when he's playing a 4-3 end, I think he's pretty good at setting the edge and playing the run. And he was really good at that in the first half of this last game too. So I'm loving it, man. I'm loving where these guys are at. We're breaking down the Lions' victory. This is the Lion Villain Report. You can join me every day at 10 a.m. talking Lions football. And if you want to come in with the Tigers talk, I don't mind talking a little bit of Tigers. I don't know as much about the Tigers, but I do know that it's exciting to have a playoff team across the street from Ford Field. And hopefully they get to play some home games in this playoff stretch. They can knock off, if they can knock off these Houston Astros, which is kind of a revenge game and all that. But Lion Villain Report every day, 10 a.m. You can also join Michael every Monday for the Main Event Football Show, 7 p.m. right before Monday Night Football. This week was, wow, it was a long day on Monday. A bunch of shows. We're broadcasting live into our Facebook page. We thank anybody that likes or subscribes or follows or shares this content. Helps us reach more people. We appreciate that. As a matter of fact, if you're watching right now and you haven't hit that like button, please hit that like button. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit that like button. There is an exception, though. You don't have to hit the like button if you're a big fan of knitting and you were looking for a knitting program and you accidentally stumbled on this page where a bunch of knuckleheads are talking about football. You don't have to hit the like button. But if you're a football fan, you love the Detroit Lions. If you love the Detroit Lions, you should hit that like button. But you're not going to find a better bunch of fans than these villains that are ready for a Super Bowl championship. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel and you say, I took care of that thing for you, I would love for you to say, I took care of that thing for you. Go subscribe to that YouTube page at Lions Villain Squad. Programs brought to you by NFL Shop. You can use the link. You can use the QR code. You can use the link that I just threw into all the pages. Thank you to NFL Shop. And then there's my beautiful wife. She's an advocate for autism awareness. Everybody using the STARS program is going to be indirectly helping her share resources to parents who have children with special needs. So thank you for doing that. Because it's faith, family, and then football around here. It's in that order. We use football, spend time with our family, and create memories. We don't let football use us. And may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again tomorrow for the Lion Villain Report. God bless. Peace.
Hey, yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet.
Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose when I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple.
Never give up and we running and maybe we just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.